The human body contains trillions of cells. Each one is alive, performing specific tasks, consuming energy, and responding to its environment. But a single cell on its own can only do so much. For the body to function as a whole, cells must be organized into teams. These teams are called tissues. A tissue is a group of cells that share a similar structure and work together to carry out a specific function. Every organ in the body, whether it's the heart, the lungs, or the skin, is built from tissues. And every tissue, no matter how complex the organ it forms, belongs to one of four fundamental types: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. Understanding these four tissue types is understanding the logic of the human body. Each one solves a specific biological problem, and together they make everything as possible. Epithelial tissue. The first problem the body must solve is boundaries. The body needs to separate itself from the outside world, control what enters and what leaves, and protect its internal structures from physical damage, chemical harm, and biological threats. Epithelial tissue is the body's solution to this problem. Epithelial tissue forms sheets of tightly packed cells that cover every external surface of the body and line every internal cavity and passageway. The skin is epithelial tissue, and so is the lining of the mouth, the stomach, the lungs, and the blood vessels. Wherever the body meets a surface, whether that surface faces the outside air or an internal fluid, epithelial tissue is present. The cells of epithelial tissue are arranged in one of two ways. Simple epithelium consists of a single layer of cells. This arrangement is thin enough to allow substances to pass through easily, which is why it is found in places where exchange is the main priority, like the air sacs of the lungs, where oxygen needs to cross into the blood, or the small intestine, where nutrients have to enter the circulation. Stratified epithelium consists of multiple layers stacked on top of each other. This arrangement sacrifices permeability for protection, which is why it is found in areas that face mechanical wear and tear, like the skin and the lining of the mouth. Epithelial tissue also acts as the body's gatekeeper. It doesn't just block substances, it selectively controls their movement. The cells of certain epithelia have specific proteins that allow some molecules to pass through while blocking others. This selective permeability is crucial for maintaining the exact chemical environment that the body's organs need. Apart from covering and lining, some epithelial cells are specialized for secretion. They release substances like mucus, digestive enzymes, and hormones onto surfaces or into ducts. These secretory epithelial cells are arranged into structures called glands, which perform essential chemical functions throughout the body. Epithelial tissue does not have any blood vessels. It gets all its nutrients by diffusion from the connective tissue just below it. This boundary between epithelial tissue and the tissue beneath it is called the basement membrane, a thin but important structural layer that keeps the epithelium anchored in place. Connective tissue. The second challenge the body faces is structure. Cells and organs cannot just float around in empty space. They need to be supported, held together, and protected. This is the job of connective tissue. Connective tissue is the most abundant and most diverse type of tissue in the human body. Unlike epithelial tissue, which mainly consists of tightly packed cells, connective tissue is defined by what surrounds its cells, a material known as the extracellular matrix. This matrix is produced by the connective tissue cells themselves, and its composition decides the properties of the tissue. The extracellular matrix is made up of protein fibers embedded in a ground substance. The most important of these fibers is collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the entire human body, making up about 25% of the total protein content. Its structure is a tightly wound triple helix with 3 protein chains coiled around each other like a rope, which gives it exceptional tensile strength. When collagen fibers are arranged in parallel, like in tendons, they can withstand pulling forces along a single axis. When they are woven in multiple directions, as in the deeper layers of the skin, they can resist forces coming from any direction. This variety is the defining characteristic of connective tissue. By altering the composition, concentration, and arrangement of its matrix, connective tissue takes on dramatically different forms, each one perfectly suited to a specific mechanical function. Loose connective tissue, which is found beneath most epithelial surfaces, is soft and flexible. It acts as a packing material, filling the spaces between organs and providing a medium for blood vessels and nerves to pass through. Dense connective tissue, which is found in tendons and ligaments, is tough and fibrous, designed to withstand the significant mechanical forces produced by movement. Cartilage is firm yet slightly flexible, providing smooth surfaces for joints and structural support in places like the nose and ears. Bone is a type of connective tissue that has been hardened by deposits of calcium and phosphate minerals, forming a rigid framework that supports the entire body and protects its vital organs. Even blood is considered a type of connective tissue. Its cells are suspended in a fluid matrix called plasma, which carries oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste products throughout the body. All of these structures here, from the delicate packing tissue beneath the skin to the hard shaft of the femur, are variations of the same basic tissue type. What changes is the matrix. What remains constant is the principle, muscle tissue. The third problem the body needs to solve is movement. All right, go ahead. Bones provide a rigid framework. Connective tissue holds everything together, but neither bones nor connective tissue can produce movement on their own. Movement requires a tissue that can generate force. That tissue is muscle. Muscle tissue is made up of cells that are specially designed to contract. When these cells are stimulated, they shorten, pulling on whatever structures they're attached to and causing movement. There are 3 distinct types of muscle tissue, each suited for a different function. Skeletal muscle is the type that comes to most people's minds when they think of muscle. It is attached to bones by tendons and is responsible for all voluntary movements, like moving your limbs, making facial expressions, and even breathing. Skeletal muscle cells are long, cylindrical, and have many nuclei. When you look at them under a microscope, they show a unique banded pattern of alternating light and dark stripes, which is due to the highly organized arrangement of the proteins that make contraction possible. Skeletal muscle reacts quickly and with a lot of strength, but it gets tired if you use it for a long time. Smooth muscle lines the walls of internal organs and structures, like the digestive tract, blood vessels, airways, and bladder. It contracts slowly and in a rhythmic way without you having to think about it, pushing substances through tubes and controlling the width of passages. Its cells are small and spindle-shaped, each with a single nucleus, and they do not have the banded look that skeletal muscle has. Cardiac muscle is found only in the heart. It has some features that are similar to both of the other types. Like skeletal muscle, it has a striated appearance. Like smooth muscle, it contracts on its own without conscious effort. But cardiac muscle has a special feature of its own, specialized connections between cells called intercalated discs. These structures let electrical signals pass quickly from one cardiac cell to another, so the whole heart can contract together in a coordinated wave. This is what causes the heart to beat in a synchronized, rhythmic way, continuing non-stop throughout a person's life. Nervous tissue. The fourth challenge the body faces is communication. With trillions of cells organized into dozens of organs, the body needs a system that can send accurate signals over long distances at high speed. Nervous tissue is that system. Nervous tissue is made up of 2 main types of cells, neurons and glial cells. Neurons are the main signaling units of the nervous system. Each neuron has a large cell body that contains the nucleus, a network of short branching extensions called dendrites, which receive incoming signals, and a single long projection called axon that sends signals outward. Axons can reach impressive distances. Some axons stretch from the base of the spine all the way to the foot, allowing a single neuron to cover the entire length of a limb. Neurons communicate using electrical impulses. When a neuron receives enough stimulation, it creates a rapid change in electrical charge across its membrane, which then travels down the length of the axon. At the end of the axon, this impulse causes the release of chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, which cross a tiny gap and stimulate the next cell in the chain, whether it's another neuron, a muscle cell, or a gland. This whole process, from stimulus to response, happens within milliseconds. Glial cells do not transmit signals. They support, protect, and maintain the neurons that do. Some glial cells wrap around axons in a fatty insulating layer called myelin, which greatly increases the speed at which electrical impulses travel. Other glial cells regulate the chemical environment around neurons, clear away debris, and provide nutrients. Without glial cells, neurons would not be able to function.